Hello, good morning. Happy new moon in Leo. My inner child dressed me this morning in honor of the new moon. She insisted on this bandana. So here we are. Hi, good morning. I want to talk about this new moon in Leo. I have a lot to say, so we'll see how long. I'll try to keep it condensed, but and really about how this new moon is a return to love and a return to the heart. And I had a really inspiring conversation. I had a session of reading last night with a Leo moon, and full body chills. And we were really talking about how the heart and your how do I want to say this? Like, your heart and your light really is the key to everything that you desire. The love, the abundance, the bliss, the joy, the relationship, the money, the career, right? Like, the abundance piece really is the key to everything that you want. And what that requires is for you to really open your heart. And so many people think that their heart is open, but then they still carry around all of these judgments and feelings of separation and unforgiveness, right? Where we're like still holding on to people and grudges or things from the past, or, we're, haven't fully like reconciled that like everything is God, right? Because when we hold judgment, we hold separation, right? Because this is actually from A Course in Miracles, right? It's like to judge something is to infer that there was a wrong, right? But if everything is God, then how is there a wrong, right? And so it's like really understanding that, like, to forgive us as God forgives is to forgive, because it's like, well, there was never a wrong to begin with, right? True forgiveness is there's no separation between me and you. And the thing is, when you can like learn to forgive in that way, it opens your heart to so much magic. And, judgment really just comes from the ego, because the ego really views and sees itself as separate. Right? But the truth is we're all just born from love, right? Babies who enter the world are born through love, like it's the ultimate creation of God is like birth, right? And so it's like really remembering like that we're all so interconnected. And there is no separation. And so if there is no separation, then there is no reason for judgment, right? Because we were really talking about how important it is to not surround yourself with people who are judgmental, right? Because the someone who holds judgment is honestly like the most like that energy is going to hold you back so much from shining your light and being in your power. And it really is like one of the most important things for you to practice is to not hold judgment with yourself, but also other people, because the judgment is what blocks the heart, right? Because it's recognizing that if you are light, then I am light, right? Like, it's like the light within me sees the light within you. And when you can actually drop your judgment, you realize that there's no separation. All it does is just open your heart to more love, more abundance, more peace, more blessings, more bliss, right? But when we hold on, especially to our past and to our woundings or to things that happened in childhood, because Leo represents the time of life of childhood, then you're really blocking yourself from all of the love and the abundance that you can experience. And so that was a very strong confirmation, right? And so when we talk about Leo is the inner child, right? So I was like, my inner child dressed me today, because it's like, it is that childlike play and that innocence and that creation energy And when you're in that energy, what is there ever to judge? You're not like judging the kids in the sandbox, right? Because you're just like, oh, there's someone else in the sandbox, someone else to play with, someone else to love, someone else for me to share energy with. And so it's really kind of connecting back to that inner child-like part of you, right? Because kids don't have filters, so they're not really in judgment because they're just saying what's on their mind, right? If they have if they like have a thought or a belief about something, they just say it, right? Which isn't judgment, that's just truth, or their truth, right? And so it's like connecting back to that playfulness, that creative place and part and piece of you that comes from love, right? Because Leos are the creators because they're so connected to their heart, to their expression, to their identity of what they want to give to the world, right? Because your light is the energy, your essence that you emanate and give to the world. That's why, so many people, I've been like nonstop listening to the Justin Bieber album. And you think like, a true artist is like, when someone who has everything in the world, like a true artist is always going to create, right? Because they'll like create till they die because that is such an authentic part of the way that they, express themselves, right? It's like a Justin Bieber doesn't need anything, but he's creating from a place of like, this is like just authentically how I share my heart with the world, right? And then it lands and it connects with so many people, and then it just like lives on, right? Like that is what true art does. It's like I'm creating this thing for everyone else to receive joy and to experience, my energy, right? And so that's really what it means to be a creator. It's just like you're sharing your heart, you're sharing your expression. But when you hold judgment, especially around yourself for what you're creating, all you're doing is creating separation, right? So like, let's say like I come up and I create a piece of content and then I judge myself for it. And I'm like, oh, that's cringy, right? It's like, well, all I just did was like shun myself, shame myself, which lowers my vibration for the expression of my heart, right? And it's like, that's like, I wouldn't do that to my inner child, right? It's like, what if your child painted a picture of you and handed it to you and was like, here's my, my creation of love. And then you're like judging it, right? You wouldn't do that because you're like, oh, it's so cute. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful. And so it's like about connecting to that like essence within you that is a creator and separating from judgment itself, right? Because what you judge in others, you judge in yourself. And what you judge in yourself is what is reflected back to you in your reality. And so really, if you're ever in judgment, it's just showing you where you're in judgment of yourself, right? And so you're really, by being in that energy of judgment, you're being in the energy of separation, which keeps you separated from God's source creator. It keeps you separated from your own light. And so, a true empowered Leo knows that if I shine, you shine, right? And just as an astrologer, I can say we're all literally born so different, right? So we're all meant to shine in our own unique lens, in our own unique way, right? In our own authenticity, which, that word's tossed around a lot, but it's like your heart is your truth. It is your authenticity. It's what makes you you. And so when you're in tune with your own heart and the love that you have for yourself, then what is there ever to judge, right? Because people who are truly embodied in the frequency of love would never be in judgment, right? Kids, when they're playing, they're not judging themselves for playing. They're just in the flow. They're connected to that freedom of expression, right? And so this really is about the relationship you have with yourself, right? And it's like, are you your own biggest fan? Are you your own biggest supporter? Or are you your own biggest judge, jury, like judge, jury, and critic? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you throwing yourself in your own jail because you're holding resentments and judgments within your heart? Because that's all you're doing. You're just blocking yourself from the things that you want by existing within that energy, right? Because if you're in resentment energy, you're in resentment to God, which it's like, why? It's like, that's like, you know, like you're not going to be able to create what you want when you're in resentment and judgment of God, right? And so the more that you're blocked, the more that you're in fear, the more you're hard on yourself, the more you're in judgment, the more you're blocked, because all you're doing is blocking your own heart. And so to open the heart is about forgiveness and acceptance. It's acceptance of others, acceptance of self. It is accepting of what is, right? And the most potent is forgiveness, right? It's seeing everyone as the creator, right? It's seeing everyone as God. And so then too, when you can just accept that everyone is of God and as of the creator, then you can love everyone, right? It doesn't mean you necessarily have to give them your heart, your whole heart and your whole energy, right? But it's just recognizing that everyone is the same. Like we all are born from the light. We all return to the light at the end of the day, right? And your heart is the key to your abundance, but you have to be open to receive it, right? And so wherever you're too in your mind, wherever you're overactive in your mind, whenever you're in your ADHD, whenever you're, short circuits, I always catch myself when I'm short circuiting, right? Like I was short circuiting a little bit this morning, if I'm being honest, because I'm like, I can just feel so much energy moving through. And I mean, I'm going through all of the change over here, but I was just like, we need to actually just sit and open our heart, because I know anytime that I'm in my mind, I'm not in my heart, right? Whenever you're in your mind, whenever you're stressed out, whenever you're anxious, whenever you're insecure, whenever you're in full of doubt, whenever you're in fear, you're not in your heart, right? Because if you're in your heart, you're connected to the divine within you. And what is there ever to fear or try to control when you're in your heart? When everything is God, when everything is fine and everything is good, right? That challenge that you're going through right now is from God, right? Because God knows what you want and God knows how to give it to you, but God can't give you anything that you're not in alignment with. And so the challenges, the circumstance, the person, the place, the experience that you're moving through is from God, right? Because God wants to get you what you want so fast and so quick and so easy, but you have to remove your judgment, your anxiousness, your insecurity, right? Your lack, your negativity, your separation, your lack of compassion, your blocked heart, right? And so, my ear just started like, argh. And so when you can actually, and the heart is the bridge for the feminine and the masculine, right? It's where the masculine and the feminine meet, right? It is your connection to your inner child. It is your connection to your higher self. And it is where manifestation happens, right? It is where creation happens. It is your electromagnetic field that shines bright, that attracts and magnetizes everything to you. And, so what is your relationship with the divine Father and the divine Mother, right? Because if we are holding judgment to the masculine or to the feminine, then we're again still operating from separateness, because you're in judgment to what created you. Let me know if this is like landing and making sense, right? So to come into a place of wholeness is to embody both the feminine and the masculine energies within you, and offer acceptance and forgiveness and compassion for the feminine and the masculine, right? Because whatever judgment you hold about, let's say the masculine, like all men are trash, right? It's like all you're doing is calling your own masculine trash, right? If you think all women are chaotic, all you're doing is calling your own feminine chaotic. And so everything in your life is just a mirror of what you need to heal, and really everything is bringing you back home to your heart. And when you can open your heart and practice acceptance and forgiveness, you can just then view and experience everything as love, right? And so this is really about the relationship you have with yourself. I said $1 million, and then the connection was like, and that was right at 11:11 too. So maybe that was like some signals, right? So it's about like opening your heart and offering forgiveness of self and of others and of your situation. Can you just accept your situation? Right? Without the lens of the ego, because the ego is the one that's in judgment. The ego is the one that's in separation. The ego is the one that's in control. The ego is the one that's in fear. The ego is the one that's anxious. The ego is the one that's insecure. Right? So many, like my ego has been slapped hard the last few weeks. And I'm like, oh, right. Because I'm seeing where my ego is blocking things that I wanted. Right? That's why too, like other people can see your ego so much easier than you can see your own. That's why I needed a friend to reflect it back to me. Be like, oh, right. I see where my ego was controlling the situation. Right? Because the whole job of the ego is to just stay alive. But when you let the ego control, you're keeping yourself separate from love. Right? And so this really goes back to your inner child and the love that your inner child either received or didn't receive. Shows you how you either allow love in or you don't. And so this new moon in Leo, how can you give your inner child the love that it desires and it deserves? And where can you practice acceptance, forgiveness? Because if you don't have that power and that connection in your heart, you're going to have a hard time stepping into relationship and setting boundaries because you don't want to lose the other person. But when you are your own love of your life and all you want is what's best for you, you're going to attract relationship from a totally different place. From a place of wholeness and not judgment or separation or anxiousness or insecurity. And so it's really looking at that masculine, feminine within you. Where do I have judgment of men? Where do I have judgment of women? And what is that reflecting back to me? Right? And how can I offer acceptance and forgiveness to my past, to past versions of myself, to those who raised me, so that I can open my heart to receive more love in all of the ways. Love, abundance, bliss, joy, blessings. Because your heart really is the key. It is your je ne sais quoi. It is your secret sauce to receiving everything that you want. And, you know, it goes back to that Rumi quote, right? It's not how do you find love, it's how do you break down all of the barriers that you've built around receiving it. Because love is always all around you. I'm hearing that like Love Actually song. I feel it in my fingers. Right? Feel it in my toes. Like love is all around me. So it's everywhere I go, right? It's true. And so, but you just have to practice acceptance and forgiveness and non-judgment. And when you open it and you feel the vulnerability in it, because it is vulnerable to ask for what you want or to ask for what you need or, you know, to just state your desires with people, then you open yourself up to receiving it. And then you can just normalize a new standard of love within you and within your life. And then it just gets to be better and better and better and better from there. So this new moon in Leo is a return to love of yourself. And you know what? This is such a freaking beautiful, beautiful new moon. So connect to your inner child today. Where do you need to love on her? You can look to your moon for how to do that. Because often people's moon signs is like the love that they did or didn't receive. And, you know, if you're not open to receive, you're not open to receive support. You're not open to receiving love fully. You're not open to receiving gifts and blessings, right? That's why a huge part of doing the work is really just like clearing your own negativity, your own lack, your own fear. And you do that by stepping into new things. And then all of the emotions and the things that feels like it's unworthy and undeserving surface. And then you're like, oh no, it's fine. Like, that's just the old version of me, right? Who didn't receive the love. And then I can just give her love. And then she's like, oh, okay. I feel safe here now. And so, it's such a beautiful new moon. It's such a beautiful new moon. It is exact, I think, at like 3 o'clock. Let me look it up, actually. I think I have it on my... I should have pulled this up before I came on. Do I have it? I have too many things on my computer. I'm not seeing it, but it's exact around 3 o'clock. So set your intuition, set your intentions. After that, this is one is a purge. It is a deep psychological, intense, deep purge. That just gave me full body chills. And it's really purging all of the ways that you're still blocking your heart. And then it is also sextile Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini is throwing in some curveballs and some wake-up calls and some exciting things. And then it's also trine Saturn and Neptune and Aries. So all of these outer planets have just shifted. That's like creating this entirely new world that we're in. Like this new moon is getting like blessed by all of it. So it's really rare to have like 6 planets at like between 0 to 3 degrees of the zodiac. So this is like a brand new start for you with like a brand new open heart. And it's like a return to love. It's a return to your inner child. It's a return to your authenticity, because it's like you don't have to become someone new. It's like you're just reclaiming and shedding and reigniting the light that's already within you that you were born with, because you were born with it, baby. Every time I do readings with people, it's like they're always like, yeah, this is everything I secretly knew about myself, but I didn't know how to articulate, right? Because it's like it's already within you. It's already on your heart. You can feel her. There's a reason you can feel her. There's a reason you can feel everything that you want, right? Because those desires were imprinted on you when you were first born. So it's literally just about deconditioning and deprogramming everything that you have blocked your heart around. So there we are. So happy new moon. If you want to dive deeper, you can book a session or join me inside of High Definition, which is my 5-month astrology mastermind and mentorship. We're diving into your birth chart to get you in alignment with your heart's purest power and potential. So basically you're going to just become a walking, breathing embodiment of your birth chart's highest expression come the end of the year. It's going to be super fun. And yeah, it's just like truly my obsession is to get people in alignment with their birth charts. So confirmation. You can send me a message if you're interested, and yeah, have a magical and romantic